There is a specific kind of person who cannot watch something stay broken. Not a leaky tap, not a fragile friendship, not a stranger's bad mood across a dinner table. You're either one of them or you're being raised by one. And the part nobody tells you is this: the exact wiring that makes you good at fixing everything is the same wiring that quietly empties you out, one small repair at a time. Researchers at the University of Rochester tracked this trait for years and gave it a clinical name: internal locus of control. It sounds noble. In some rooms, it is. In other rooms, it is the most expensive thing you own. Stay with me. In the next 10 minutes, you'll see the 4 signals that prove you're wired this way, the exact moment helping turns into something darker, and one sentence, just one, that lets a fixer rest without losing themselves. Start with the trait map. Not everyone who helps is a fixer. Helpers respond when asked. Fixers respond before being asked. A fixer walks into a room and the room becomes a list of problems. The chair that wobbles, the coworker whose smile didn't reach her eyes, the cable that someone laid across a doorway. 3 little fractures, registered before the coat is even off. This is not paranoia, it is a kind of attention. The technical term for it is high vigilance pattern recognition, and it sits on top of 3 older psychological traits stacked on top of each other like sedimentary rock. Each layer answers a different question. Why do they notice? Why do they act? And why can't they let it go? Now look at the bottom layer, the deepest one. Psychologist Julian Rotter named it in 1966, internal locus of control. People with this trait believe outcomes are theirs to influence. The world is not a weather system that happens to them. It is a machine with handles, and they were born holding a wrench. This belief is so foundational, it shows up in the blood work. People with strong internal locus of control have lower depression rates, higher reported well-being, and bounce back from setbacks faster than the rest of the population. But that's only the surface. The second layer is what social cognitive theorist Albert Bandura called self-efficacy. Not self-esteem, not confidence in general. Specific confidence that says, I can produce a change in this situation with my own hands, and the proof is the times I already have. Self-efficacy is built in the body by reps, by small completed acts. And then on top of those 2 layers sits the strangest one, Stanley Budner's tolerance of ambiguity. While most people experience a broken or undefined situation as threatening, a fixer experiences it as inviting. The fog in the room is not danger. It is space to work. Stack those 3. Internal locus, self-efficacy, ambiguity tolerance. Add high cognitive empathy on top, the ability to read the friction in a system before the system has reported the friction. What you get is someone who walks through life 2 seconds ahead of everyone else, already mid-repair while the rest of the room is still asking what's wrong. And from the outside, this looks like a superpower. From the outside, fixers are who you call when a deadline is going to slip. They are who shows up the morning after the fight. They are who notices the elderly neighbor hasn't taken the bins out for 3 days. They are overrepresented in nursing, in teaching, in startup founder rooms, in firefighter crews, in any line of work where competence under pressure is a survival trait. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. The same engine that makes them so useful is also slowly disassembling them from the inside. This is the part most fixers never figure out about themselves. The trait does not stay in the trait box. It leaks. It becomes identity. A fixer who has been a fixer long enough no longer feels neutral around imperfection. They feel pulled. There is a small physiological discomfort that activates the moment they encounter a problem they are not currently solving. Researchers have noted this in studies of perfectionism. a low-grade autonomic arousal, a body that won't fully sit down. The result is a person who confuses urgency with importance and rest with negligence. The fridge is humming wrong. The friend hasn't replied in a day. The Teams deck has a font inconsistency on slide 9. None of these matter. All of these are now occupying the same nervous system that should be metabolizing dinner. What looks like generosity is often something else entirely. Fixers, when they are honest, will admit the truth. Fixing is regulating. It is a way of metabolizing their own anxiety by putting their hands on a problem they can solve. The unfixed thing in the room is a tuning fork inside their chest. They reach for it and the vibration drops. The relief feels like virtue, but the underlying mechanism is closer to compulsion. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it. The same fixer who saves the dinner party with a perfect joke is the one who can't enjoy the dinner because she is monitoring 3 different microclimates at the table. The fixer who builds an entire engineering team out of nothing is the one whose Sunday afternoon was disassembled because someone's promotion case isn't airtight, and that fact is louder than his own son asking him to play. Now the cost shows up in relationships. This is where fixers lose the people they love most without ever raising their voice. There is a moment in every long relationship with a fixer where the other person stops sharing problems. Not because the fixer is mean, the opposite. Because every problem the partner brings now produces a solution they did not request. The partner wanted to be heard. The fixer wanted to help. Both believe they were doing the right thing. Both walk away with something missing. Over years, the partner edits themselves into someone smaller because telling the fixer about a hard day at work means the fixer will now redesign their workflow at 11 at night. So they stop telling. The fixer interprets this as peace. It is not peace. It is distance. And the cruelest version of this dynamic is between fixer parents and their children. A child raised by a fixer learns very early that mistakes will be repaired before they can be felt. Skinned knee, social slip, bad grade, solved fast. The child grows up efficient and chronically undermet. Both sides love each other, neither knows how to land. Here is the line that separates the fixer's gift from the fixer's prison. The gift says, "I can help when help is asked for, and rest when it isn't." The prison says, "I cannot rest while anything around me is unfinished." The gift is internal locus of control pointing outward, at problems. The prison is internal locus of control collapsing inward, treating other people's lives as problems too. Most fixers cross that line without noticing. The crossover is gradual. Help becomes default. Default becomes identity. Identity becomes obligation. And the version of you that exists outside of being useful goes quiet because nobody, including you, has asked her to speak in a long time. If you've made it this far in the video and you've recognized yourself, here's the one sentence I promised you at the beginning. Not a quote, not a hack, a diagnostic. Before you fix the next thing in front of you, you pause, you take one breath, and you ask, was I invited? That's it. 6 words. Was I invited? If the answer is yes, do what you do. You are extraordinary at it. If the answer is no, the discomfort you're feeling is not a problem to solve. It is the trait trying to run you. You can let it pass through, and the world will not collapse. The chair will keep wobbling for another hour. Someone else might fix it. Sometimes no one fixes it. And that turns out to be fine. The world holds. If this hit a nerve, the next video in this series goes deeper into the second layer of this same wiring. The people who feel responsible for other people's emotions, and why the very thing that makes them deeply loved is also slowly eroding their sense of self. It's the natural sequel to what you just watched, and if you don't want to miss it, hit subscribe.